Every day, hundreds of people walked past David, but almost no one ever looked at him. To them, he was just another homeless man on the street, but they had no idea. And on that cold morning, one small act was noticed by someone who would soon need his help. David had spent years being ignored by the world, but that morning, he noticed something everyone else missed. And within seconds, one stranger's life would be in his hands. For years, David had felt invisible, but when everyone else kept walking, he was the one who stopped. And in that moment, nothing else mattered except helping a stranger. Within minutes, help arrived, and the stranger David had rushed to save was saved. Did nothing in return. He didn't even know the man's name, but soon that name would change his life forever. David didn't wait for a reward. He didn't ask for money. He simply walked away, not knowing that the man he had just helped was already determined to find him. For the rest of the day, one question stayed in his mind. Who was that man? Who stopped to help? And he was about to discover David's story was.
The businessman had everything by that day. The chance to thank the man helped him, so he began searching, not knowing that David was closer than he imagined.
After searching the city, he finally found him. The man everyone had ignored was sitting right in front of him. But David still had no idea who this stranger really was.
I've been looking everywhere for you. Why?
David had expected nothing that day.
Because you saved my life.
But the stranger had come back, not to repay him, to thank him.
David, what happened to you? I wasn't always living on the street.
The man standing before him had once lived a completely different life.
Years earlier, David had a good job, a home, and a future he believed was secure. Then one phone call changed everything. David left work that day without knowing that his old life was already beginning to fall apart. One unexpected moment would soon change everything he thought he knew. David rushed home, hoping everything would be okay. But the moment he opened the door, he knew something had changed, and waiting for him was a message that would break his world apart.
In a single moment, David's life no longer felt familiar. The home he once returned to with hope completely empty, and David had no idea this was only the beginning of his struggle.
David thought he could handle everything. He thought things would get better. But day by day, the pressure kept growing, and soon he would be forced to make a choice he never imagined. David still believed he could save his life. He still had his job. He still had hope. But that morning, he was about to lose the one thing holding everything together.
David, I'm sorry.
In just a few minutes, David lost his job. The last thing keeping his life together was suddenly gone.
For the first time in his life, David didn't know where to go. His job was gone. His home was already slipping away. And with every step, his old life was disappearing behind him.
By the end of that day, David had lost his job. And now, he had lost his home too, was suddenly gone. That night, David had nowhere else to go. His old life was gone. But somewhere inside him, he still refused to give up. The next morning, David got up and kept moving. He had lost almost everything, but he hadn't lost himself. And that was enough to keep going. David had almost nothing, yet he still found ways to help others.
Let me take that one.
Because losing everything hadn't changed the kind of man he was, and someone was about to notice. The same man helped was beginning to understand something. David wasn't defined by his circumstances. He was defined by his character. The businessman wanted to know the truth.
David, what happened to you?
Life happened, but David's answer was only the beginning. I just kept going. I used to have a career.
The businessman realized something important.
Yeah.
A long time ago, David wasn't someone who had never succeeded.
David had lost his career, but he hadn't lost his knowledge.
How did you know how to fix that? I've done this kind of work for years.
David had spent years believing, would you give yourself another chance? But suddenly,
What do you mean?
someone was offering him a reason. I think I can help.
No.
A reason to believe again. I own a small company. I need someone with your experience.
Why me?
David had been searching for a way back into life. He just never expected.
I don't know if I can do this anymore. You saved my life. Now let me help you rebuild yours. Okay, I'll try. That's all I wanted to hear.
David had spent months wondering where his life had gone. Now, for the first time, he was walking toward a new beginning. But the hardest part was still ahead.
Show me what you remember. I remember everything. David had lost his confidence.
But he had never lost his skill, and now he finally had a chance to prove it. For the first time in years, David felt like himself again. He didn't feel like a homeless man.
You really do know what you're doing. I guess I never forgot.
David, I want you on my team.
You're serious?
Completely. After years of being overlooked, David finally heard the words, "You're hired."
To David, it was proof that his life wasn't over. He had lost everything once. Now, he was finally rebuilding. The job gave David a future, but now he finally had a home again. It wasn't luxurious. It didn't need to be. For David, it was enough. David wasn't becoming someone new. He was becoming himself again. The man who had once disappeared beneath years of hardship was finally coming back. David never forgot what it felt like to have nothing. So when his life finally changed,
Thank you.
the person who understands your struggle best is the person who survived it. David knew exactly what that man was feeling. He had been there himself, and now he understood something important. One small act of kindness can become the beginning of a completely different life. David thought he had already received his second chance.
What is this? Just something I wanted you to have.
But the businessman had one more surprise waiting for him.
You changed my life, David.
David had once believed his time was over.
Time can take things away, but it can also give us another chance.
Now, he finally understood. It was only a new beginning. David had been given a second chance.
I'll never forget what you did for me. Then don't forget what you can do for someone else.
And he made a promise. He would use it to give someone else theirs. Months earlier, David had been the man sitting on that bench. Now, he was the one reaching out a hand. The tables had turned. But David never forgot where he came from.
David knew exactly what this stranger needed. I've been where you are. Not pity, not judgment. It doesn't have to stay this way. Just someone willing to believe in him. Everyone deserves another chance. Someone gave me mine. Now it's your turn.
Now when me Marty turns return.
David thought his new life had finally settled down.
David, I need you at the office tomorrow.
What happened? But the call he received that afternoon
I have something important to show
was about to change everything again.
I want you to lead this project. Me? You understand people who need a second chance, but he still had one question. Why him? Why did you choose me? Because I saw who you were when you had nothing.
David finally understood. He believed in the man David had become. David once believed his story was over. Then one stranger stopped. David didn't just get his life back. Sometimes, saving one stranger can...
If this story touched your heart, subscribe to Moral Story Hub, because every story has a lesson, and every act of kindness can change a life.